Hi, this is Carol Madden with Estate Sales News. I'm here in Morgan Park on the south side of Chicago today with Judy Martin, who is a certified appraiser with the International Society of Appraisers and the owner of The Perfect Thing, and also an estate liquidator with many, many years of experience. Judy, thank you so much for meeting me here today. Well, we're in a very well-known artist home. So why don't you tell me a little bit about this gentleman and show me some of the phenomenal things in his collections of collections.
Okay. I'm really pleased and honored to be selling the collection of Jack and Marjorie Simmerling. Jack Simmerling was a well-known Chicago artist. He became involved in the demolition and the taking apart of the commercial, or I want to say the industrialists of the 19th century's mansions on the near south side of Chicago. At a time when people were moving north of the city, and they were moving, once the bridges between the Chicago River had been built, people could leave the near south side and go north. They could go up to the north side on Lakeshore Drive, they could go to Highland Park, they could go to Lincoln Park and live up there. Originally, though, everybody was kind of conglomerate, kind of lived around 11th and Michigan, 10th and Michigan, and the factories were there, the houses were there, they all lived there. Think of the Columbian Exposition. In this room, when I originally came in to do the appraisal, which I did for the Glessner House Museum, which is at 1800 South Prairie, which is a phenomenal private museum. It's wonderful. You should go if you ever get a chance. You're in Chicago. I said one of the things that the Simmerlings sent to them is a bust of Christopher Columbus that came out of the Columbian Exposition executive room where the directors met for lunch. My job was to figure out where that bust came from, what piece of furniture, who might have made that bust. I've determined that it was made by J.R. Horner, who was a phenomenal woodworker at that time and worked at the Columbian Exposition. He made furniture for the exposition. So that bust, which is just part of a sideboard that would not fit in this house, Jack tried to take it in the house, it wouldn't fit, so he took the bust off, and the bust has now gone to the Glessner Museum as part of the Jack Simmerling wing. It's going to be a phenomenal wing when it's all said and done. There's full libraries. But part of the things that Jack collected was pottery, art glass, lamps, things like that. He found, it's gone a long time now, he sold it because he sold it at the right time, a Tiffany floor lamp he found sitting on the floor in one of those demolished houses. Well, he sold it many years ago, which he should have, so that's been sold. But there are other pieces of Tiffany here. There is Rookwood here, there's Van Briggle here, this is Rookwood, and most of this is production pieces. These are not fine art pieces, but it's a good collection of Rookwood. And then we have Van Briggle, which is early because, like most people should know, Van Briggle worked for Rookwood, and he got sick and he had to go to Colorado Springs, and so he started his own pottery company out in Colorado Springs. So that we've separated our pottery by type, so when I sit down to put my prices on, I'm not going, which piece is that, which piece is this. I'm in with my pottery, with my Rookwood, I'm in with my Van Briggle, I'm over here with my Weller, some real great, Roseville, excuse me. I'm over here with my Weller, I'm over here with my brush, I'm over here with different pieces so I can keep track of what I'm researching at that point. Over here on the back table are darling, and they're so sweet, souvenir porcelain pieces, souvenir cups from all over the country. So this is Cleveland. Look at how cute. Those are sweet and pretty. I haven't even started to do the research on them, and they're probably not going to come up to what they used to be, but they're darling. Cleveland, Louisville, this is Buffalo, New York, just sweet. This is Japanese pottery. So this is, turn of the century, Japanese, all marked beautiful pottery, and very much in almost a Turkish style, if you think. It's not really Asian, it's a kind of a conglomerate of those. That's new, my brain just stopped, not Buffalo, but Bennington. everyday dishware from Bennington. Nice pieces. That's a copy of a bank. We have some lamps, a wonderful sideboard, and I have to apologize. We're still setting. We're in the middle of setting the sales, so we're still setting up. This is a sideboard that they, once upon a time, probably would have been worth $3,500 to $4,000 in a house sale. I think maybe if I get 15 for it today, I'm doing really great, because the market for this furniture has just dropped off. Retail is different from estate sale, which you all know. The pricing is completely different. This torch-here, which is wonderful, came out of an old church, St. Mark's, and which, you know, how many churches have been torn down in all sorts of major cities. This is from St. Mark's. Look at the beautiful paw feet on this. This piece has a value. I'm going to sell this for about $4,500. I have a potential buyer for it already. Then in the same vein, this piece over here is from the back altar of St. Mark's. This is a Gothic, so just beautiful. How many churches were built in this Gothic style by people who had been to Europe or been to England and said, so they built at the turn of the century so many Gothic churches and a Gothic chair. I doubt that that's probably from someone's sitting room. But it's just a wonderful little chair. And then of course we have this beautiful aesthetic period bookcase, just lovely, 1890s, 1900. And in here are some of our better pieces. A wonderful three lily lamp, Tiffany, marked all the good things in gilt, beautiful with its little shades. One is right, two are not, but I think that's okay. A beautiful Tiffany vase, just darling, sweet little piece, maybe 3-4 inches tall, but with its original label, which is very nice. We have a Lotz vase, a Lotz Taza, which is so pretty. Lotz and Tiffany working at the same time, just did beautiful work together. I mean, and sometimes there's a discussion of who copied who. They were all copying each other. If somebody discovered something, right, somebody said, let me go do that too. Some Vaseline, beautiful enamel pieces, most likely Bohemian or Eastern European. This one is not marked, but I'm almost positive that that's a Van Briggle piece. I have to do a little more homework. Of course, a Hummel Madonna, because what house is not complete without one? Quazelle. So it's, one of the things is, you have all this stuff in the back of your brain. Mm-hmm. And you go, I know what this is. I know when you do a sale like this, your brain goes into that database. And you go, oh, I remember what that is. I know what that is. One of the things that I was so excited to see when we got here were these lamp bases. And they were marked in the box, Tiffany lamps. And I thought, oh, that's terrific. So I pulled out the base and I went, oh, that's great. And it's got the right mark on it. And it looks good. And I love it. And the style's right. I went to my books. There it is. I found it. However, the shades that were on it are those. And when I said, oh, no, they're not. They're not Tiffany. Great clock. I have to look at that. I think it's her shady by the metal chimes that are on the back. Look at that spice cabinet. Isn't that beautiful marquetry? It's just beautiful. Gorgeous. It needs a little cleanup. We need to wash it, but it needs to get its doors back on. But it's there. A little washstand, which in its day was going for a lot of money, but now they're kind of died a little bit because people don't decorate in that manner. Some do, in a house like this, they'll come because of the client, because of who owned it, and because the house represents this age and this style. But if it was in a regular contemporary house, this stuff would probably, except for the better pieces, would probably really flunk. It would not do well. Houses tell who lived here. Houses teach you, houses talk. And when people come in, the public come in. Now, okay, perfect example. This leather sofa doesn't belong here. When I walked into the house the first time, there was a great collection of Stickley, albeit new, but arts and crafts Stickley style furniture. One of the kids, and it's their stuff to keep, took the Stickley and brought us back this leather sectional. This leather sectional never belonged in this house, doesn't belong in this house, so it's going to fail. But the harpsichord or the pianoforte does belong in this house. Now here's another issue that's come up in the last little bit, is what are we gonna do if, see these little ivory keys? You know, what are they gonna do about that? What's everyone gonna do about this issue of ivory? And that'll be a very interesting thing to watch and see how that all shakes out, because it's gonna have to shake out. Because people that have collected this ivory for 100, you know, for 50 years, it can't be worthless. It just can't be. So beautiful, beautiful pianoforte.
And a music box.
And a music box, and another organ there. Darling, and a gas lamp, which you know what's happened with these poor things. But this is another little organ. Look at how sweet that is. Isn't that sweet?
It's wonderful.
It's just fabulous stuff. And when I walked in to talk to the executor or the trustee the first time, and we talked about the appraisal, and then he said, well, now what am I going to do with all this stuff that I'm not sending to the museum? He said, well, you're going to sell it, aren't you? And he said, yes, but how? And I said, well, there's lots of ways we could go. You could go to auction. You could do a tag sale. Oh, I could? Who could do that? I said, well, I could. And so he said, well, okay, but how? What about the auctions? I said, well, you know, tag sales, if it's done by the right person, if it's done correctly, will do as well, as because there's such an international and national market. Now, this is stuff that's all just coming out. We have to figure out what it is. A lot of this is Brush McCoy and
we should let people know that right now there isn't a lot of light in the room.
Yeah, right. No, well, I have to change the light bulb. So you get what you get when you go into a house. You know, the family takes what they want, and you're done to get it sorted. All of this stuff 2 days ago was way up high. So it all is coming down. We have to clean it all. We'll come back with my big crew, and we'll get it all clean. Majelica, tucked back here in this great old cabinet, step-back cabinet. Scales. I mean, there is everything, you know, that you can kind of... So we have Majelica, English and French and American Majelica. That's probably a Weller corn casserole. And then, oops, we have the kitchen. Now, I kind of just, this is Spooners. Spooners galore. Press glass. You know, pitchers, juice glasses, cake plates, just miscellaneous kitchenware. This is kind of in the washing stage. All of that stuff over there is chipped and broken in some manner, so that'll go to the back porch, because who wants, you know, that's hard to sell, so I don't want it to take up valuable space. Spongeware, wonderful. Look at this. These are just great bowls. Isn't that a great bowl?
That is beautiful.
That's a great bowl, isn't it?
It really is.
It's just fabulous. You know, darling tomato, made in Japan, yellowware. And issue and condition is everything. So now we have to go through it all and make sure that what's you know, even though that's a pretty little piece of Majelica, just broken,
it's got
cracked,
a chip.
it's got, you know, and it's glued and repaired. So it's, you know, a lot of issues. The beautiful leaded glass stays with the house. But it's just a beautiful, beautiful collection. Rolling pins, wonderful rolling pins. Let's see, what else? We can go upstairs and take a look at some of that's from Guatemala, the crucifix. He helped to dismantle the Fields house. He went to Notre Dame on an art scholarship, and he was allowed to take a sabbatical from Notre Dame in the 50s when he was going to school there to come and help dismantle these houses because they were architecturally important. And now he collected them and kept the pieces that he took from the houses that he took down. So here we have another pump organ, a great great bench. That's a wonderful bench. Now the chair we thought was originally from the Ryerson house, but it's not, and it's a reproduction of a Tudor chair with the leather, but it's a good piece, and it would have been something they would have decorated with at that time in the 1880s, 1870s. A drop leaf table, dime a dozen, beautiful fire screen, just a beautiful fire screen. The mantle, this is not the original mantle to this house. This mantle was put in, came out of some other house that Mr. Simmerling had found, And then the original mantles to this house are in the garage, and we are selling them because even though the house is sold, see, this is what we found. This is how we found it. So there's, look at Japanese lusterware, an ink piece that he probably used. This is just this is probably one of his kids' pottery work. But a little Japanese tea set, you know, that's how things were found here.
This is truly a unique and historic home.
I would say late 19th century, all the way through the 20th, the mid 20th century. There's some dishes downstairs that are certainly mid-century. Hudson Bay blankets, which are important. People buy, they're good blanket. They're not just a wool blanket. You know, little stove, darling stove.
Judy, I can't tell you how great this is. I'm looking forward to getting this up and on. My very special thanks today to Judy Martin for taking the time to show us the sale for Jack Simmerling and his wife Marjorie in Morgan Park. It'll be coming up in about
a week. It's the weekend of the 14th.
The weekend of the 14th. Judy, many thanks again.
Oh, thanks
I appreciate
so much for coming.
You're welcome.
We're thrilled to have you. Thank you.